What's up everyone, back for another vlog, and in today's vlog I want to talk to you about the upcoming fall content that you can expect from the channel, which of course includes some Oktoberfest beers, and I have them in front of me. Along with that, I want to talk about a recent beer run I went on a couple days ago and just how different it was than say 6 months ago. So let's start there. Let's start with the beer run. Now, this year's been crazy with the whole pandemic going on and whatnot. For me, buying beer has not been a priority. I believe the last time I went on an actual beer run, and I define beer run as me going to the store specifically to buy beer, to review on the channel, maybe drink some off camera, but just, it might even include a couple different beer stores. And I have not done that since late February of this year, so over 6 months. And the reason for that is, I've mentioned this before numerous times on my channel, but I was born with a congenital heart defect, and I'm trying to stay extra safe when it comes to buying beer. So going to the beer store to buy beer with all the craziness going on, not a priority for me. Now, I have went to a local brewery, the Froth Brewing Company. They're about 10 minutes away from my house, a couple times, and bought some of their beer. They did a great job with keeping everyone safe, social distancing, the whole nine. So no qualms with buying beer from there, but I just thought going to a store and whatnot, especially in the early days of the pandemic, was like, nah, not gonna happen. So recently I was like, you know what? I gotta go get some Oktoberfest beers. I'm gonna have to get some pumpkin beers for the 10 Days of Pumpkin, which we'll talk about a little later. And I wanna start doing shelfie beer reviews at some point in the near future again. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. But yeah, so I went on a beer run a couple days ago, and let me tell you, some crazy shit happening, especially here in the Western New York area. When I went to the store, I did not expect the sheer amount of new breweries that we're starting to get distro from. Three Floyds Brewing Company, now they distribute to Western New York. 18th Street Brewing Company, another brewery out of Indiana. We have them here. Equilibrium Brewery is now distributing fully here in Western New York, but that isn't a surprise. I've seen some good friends of mine and viewers of the channel like Jeff, aka No Jinx. He lives in Michigan. He's seeing EQ stuff. Some people down in Florida. I think with the pandemic, there have been so many breweries that aren't open. They're actual brewery or brew pub and whatnot, that they're taking those beers that they throw in kegs and sell on site and just packaging more beers and getting them out to, better, or I shouldn't say better, bigger distribution areas. So seeing a lot of new breweries show up here, and I'm all for it, but it is a bit overwhelming. We have a lot of selection here in Western New York, and now we have even more. It's just kind of mind-boggling. You walk in and there's like, hundreds and hundreds of different breweries, and I was kind of overwhelmed. So when I went on this beer run, I went to Premier Gourmet, which is about 15, 20 minutes away from my house in Amherst, New York, one of my favorite bottle shops in the area. And also went to Aurora Brew Works in East Aurora, New York. And I got a pretty good mix between the two bottle shops. And yeah, it was nice to go and shop and see breweries that I haven't bought beers from in, the last half year. And it was fun. It was fun because I like shopping for beer and I like trying new beer. And I haven't been able to do that in the past 6 months. So I picked up a bunch of different stuff. You will see most of the reviews over the next 3 or 4 weeks, pretty much the next month. I picked up, I think, like three mixed six packs. So in addition to Oktoberfest, I have like pretty much another 12 to 14 beers or so that you will be seeing over the next month, we'll say. So yeah, the beer run, successful. But I wanted to mention that because I want to know if any of you out there have experienced that in your own city, your local bottle shop. You see a lot more beers on the shelf, new breweries being distributed, because I just feel like it can't only be here in Western New York. It has to be all over the place. I just feel like that's a thing going on. But post in the comment section, let me know how it is in your area. Now, obviously, with the upcoming fall season, the content starts changing. We start reviewing different beers and whatnot, and we're going to be reviewing some Oktoberfest beers. Now, typically what I do on my channel is, I've done this the last 2 years, on the start of the official Oktoberfest celebration in Munich, Germany, whatever day that is, I will review a German Oktoberfest beer. And then I will do the same thing on the end date. It usually lasts about, I think it's 14 days, 15 days. It's 2 weeks. It starts on a Saturday and it ends on a Sunday. So this year, I grabbed 2 German Oktoberfest beers, and then I grabbed 3 other pretty much domestic Oktoberfest beers. Now I wanted to grab 7, but here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing. All that beer that I went to, that I was looking at on the shelves on my beer run and whatnot, I couldn't find more Oktoberfest beers that I haven't tried before or that I haven't reviewed on the channel. Like, I wanted to review a couple bigger breweries, and Two Roads was really the only one that I could find. Like, I wanted to, I'm trying to think of who is Oktoberfest. I wanted like Ballast Points, I think it's Dead Ringer or something like that. I wanted a couple bigger breweries, and I just they weren't in stock. And I even wanted a couple Western New York breweries. They came and went already. So I was like, what the hell? But anyway, we have 5 this year. And like I said, starting with a German, ending with a German. In between, we have the American breweries. And the first one is going to be from Weihenstephaner. They're in Bavaria, Germany. And we have their Fest beer. So we'll start with that. Next one we'll have is actually one that I didn't anticipate buying. But this is a beer that actually is going to be a re-review. And I don't do that on my channel. Typically, I do not re-review or revisit beers. If I reviewed it once, I'm done with it, unless it's the vintages each year are different, whether it's a new recipe or different ingredients. And that is this one, because apparently Genesee has a new recipe for their Oktoberfest beer. And I had no idea. A couple people posted in the comment section of my Genesee review from 2 years ago, and they're like, "Hey, you're gonna review it this year because there's a new recipe." I was like, "What? There's a new recipe?" Sure enough, went to their Instagram page, new recipe. This one is going to be more of a fest beer as opposed to a Märzen/Marzen, however you want to say it. The difference is I have documented plenty of times on my channel. If you go watch my Pauliner review, basically a fest beer is an easier drinking, lighter, more like hop forward, crisper type of lager, where a Märzen is more of that, amber lager that has more of a, it's a heavier feeling to it. So in the States, we typically, most of the breweries here in the States brew Märzens, not many fest beers. You'll see them here and there. But this is apparently a fest beer, or closer to the fest beer style. So they have a new recipe, and I was like, you know what? We'll re-review it. It's a new recipe. We'll give it a go. Now, Oktoberfest from Genesee, as far as like the bigger craft breweries, especially here in the Northeast, it was pretty solid. So I'll be curious to see if this is better or worse than their old recipe. Then we have from Two Roads, their Oktoberfest, which instead of having the TO in there, they have a 2. I see what they did there, 2 rows. I get it, clever. This was one that I just, caught my eye and I was like, you know what, we'll give Two Roads a go. Don't know much about it, never had it before, so we'll give it a go. And then the next one, very excited about this because Von Trapp is actually distroing to Western New York. I'm super happy about them being here because they make basically lagers, and a lot of their stuff is supposedly fantastic. So I picked up this beer, their Oktoberfest beer, but I also picked up a handful of their other beers, which you'll see over the next month or so. Really excited. I think I got a Kolsch, a Dunkel, and there was a Helles. So yeah, I'm really excited to give them a go. I hear so many good things about them. So to try their Oktoberfest along with the rest of their lagers, going to be fantastic. And last but not least, we have Hofbrau. And yeah, another German Oktoberfest beer. I've had that one numerous. I've had both of these numerous times before. I've had the Genesee. These two I've never had, but I thought it would go with a little bit of a mix here. I wanted, like I said, to get 7. We'll do 5. And like I said, we'll start on the official date of the start of the Oktoberfest celebration in Germany, and we'll end it on the end date. Of course, this year's Oktoberfest celebration is not happening because of the pandemic. They canceled it, but I'm still going to celebrate it because how can you not drink some Oktoberfest during September and October? I mean, you have to. So I'm going to review these, and I'm going to have a good time. Hopefully, if you can get your hands on any of these, you can grab them and watch along with my reviews and have a grand old time. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really pumped about these beers specifically. So a couple things I wanted to talk about in addition to the upcoming fall content. Now, we'll talk about the fall content right now. Along with Oktoberfest, in October, I typically do my 10 Days of Pumpkin. This year will be the 3rd annual 10 Days of Pumpkin, basically the 9 days leading up to Halloween, and on Halloween, I'll review a pumpkin beer every single day. Now, in the past 2 years, I've reviewed a lot of pumpkin beers because some days I was posting multiple pumpkin beer reviews. Some days I was posting like head-to-heads. I reviewed the vast majority of like the bigger, well-known ones. Like I've reviewed all the Southern Tier ones that they package from, pumpkin to cold-pressed coffee pumpkin and Warlock and so on and so forth. So I would like to ask you out there to post in the comment section or let me know if there's any pumpkin beers you'd like to see me review that you think I can get my hands on. Again, I'm in the Buffalo, New York area, Western New York area. So if you know of any that I can get my hands on that I haven't reviewed already, let me know. Now, if you're curious about the beers that I've already reviewed as far as pumpkin beers go, I have 2 different playlists. I have the 2018 and 2019 10 Days of Pumpkin. If you go to those playlists, you can see the beers I've already reviewed. Like I said, I reviewed so many of the bigger offerings that I'm starting to kind of run out of beers to review. Now, I have a list of beers that I want to get to this year. I want to buy the Elysian Variety Pumpkin Pack, which has their Night Owl, the Great Pumpkin, Dark of the Moon, and Punkachino. I'm hoping that shows up here and I can grab that and review all of them except for Night Owl. I already reviewed Night Owl, I believe it was last year, maybe the year before. I want to get that. I want to get Cigar City's Good Gourd, and there's another one that I would like, but Probably not going to be able to get to it this year unless somebody is kind enough to send my way, but from Saucony Creek out of Pennsylvania, their Maple Mistress. That is a beer I had a couple times in the past, and one of my favorite pumpkin beers, even though it's a butternut squash beer, but I totally would love to review it during the 10 days of pumpkin. So if anybody can get their hands on that or would like to send it my way, contact me. We'll hopefully work something out. I'd love to get Maple Mistress though. It's a fun beer. But outside of that, I really don't have anything like off the top of my dome piece that I'm thinking about reviewing. Like, there's a couple here and there, but nothing specifically. So if anybody has any ideas or suggestions, definitely let me know about it. Now, in addition to the 10 days of pumpkin, I also plan on bringing shelfie beer reviews back at some point. I'm thinking November. Now, if you follow the channel, you probably already know what shelfie beer reviews are, but for those of you who don't, I think I started this last summer, but basically it works like this. At the beginning of the month, I will show you guys typically somewhere between 8 or 9 shelfie beers that I'll be reviewing over the course of the next month. And I post all the reviews on Tuesday and Friday. And so every single Tuesday, every single Friday, there'll be a shelfie beer reviews. Now, shelfie beer basically means a beer that I can walk into my local bottle shop and I can buy it off the shelf. And it's from one of the bigger, well-known craft beer producers. You're talking your Sam Adams, your Sierra Nevadas, your Stone, beers like that. So I typically do that every single month. It stopped again when the pandemic started. So I'm hoping to bring that back sometime in, I'm thinking it's gonna be November. It's not gonna be next month, it's gonna be November. And yeah, if you have any suggestions for beers you want to see, post them, a couple weeks before November, and let me know if you know of any new releases coming out that you'd like me to check out. Typically, like I said, I'll buy the beers, I'll show them at the beginning of the month, and then every Tuesday and Friday I will post a review. And those great feedback from everyone because they're beers that you can actually get, which brings me to my next point. I know over the past, say, 4 or 5 months, maybe even 6 months since the pandemic started, I have not had the best variety of beer reviews, on YouTube. I just haven't. And the reason for that is I went through some, personal medical issues and whatnot that I've talked about so many times on the channel. And that had stopped me, in addition to the pandemic, from going out and getting beers. So I was relying on beers that were sent to me courtesy of good friends of mine and viewers of the channel. I had so many beer mails sent to me. Then, of course, Hop Butcher for the World sends me pretty much a beer mail every single month. And then I was going to Froth Brewing Company. They're about 10 minutes from my house, and I was going there, like I said, I think I mentioned that earlier. So basically, there was the beers I will say this, the beers that I've been reviewing over the past, say, 4 or 5 months fall into one of 3 categories. Beers that were sent to me by viewers, beers that were sent to me by Hop Butcher, or beers that I picked up from Froth. So the variety obviously is not the greatest. You have Hop Butcher beers, they don't have great distribution, although it seems as though by the time you see this, I believe they're starting to get distro into Michigan, which is fantastic news, but Hop Butcher doesn't have huge distribution. Froth has very limited distribution and it's throughout the Western New York area, and the beers sent to me by viewers are beers that a lot of you just can't get your hands on. So I understand that a lot of the reviews that I post, you might not ever get a chance to try them, and I get that. So I've had, a couple comments here and there, like, posting a lot of the same stuff. Unfortunately, that's what it's just how it is. I thank everybody for sending me beer, because without Hop Butcher and without a lot of kind individuals out there, the beer reviews might have been just stopped completely for, pretty much the spring and summer. But they've kept me going, and now I'm going back out, grabbing beers. We're going to see more variety, more beer reviews from breweries that you can pick up locally. So that's going to start pretty much going forward. Now you're going to see a lot of different beer reviews from, breweries that you're familiar with. But really starting in October, November, you're going to see a lot better variety. So I do apologize for the lack of variety, but as I mentioned before, kind of out of my hands, just how it is. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, as a great man once said. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the vlog. So like I said, you can plan on these Oktoberfest beers, over the next couple weeks. You're going to see this one later today, although I'm not reviewing them on the same day. You're going to see this one later today. And you're going to see this one at the end of the Oktoberfest celebration, these 3 sprinkled in between. And then once we hit October, you're going to probably see more of the beers that I'm, grabbing on beer runs and whatnot. I'm going to say this as well. Hop Butcher there's still a lot of beers I got to review from Hop Butcher. The reason you're seeing so many Hop Butcher reviews over the past 2 or 3 months is because when I took those multiple breaks back in the spring and summer, I kind of got behind on Hop Butcher beers and I had to start pumping them out. So basically I'm posting 2 to 3 Hop Butcher reviews per week. That's why you see so many of them. And I'm just now starting to get caught up. So by the end of October, I should be mid to late October, I should be caught up with all the Hop Butcher reviews. So when they do send me beers, I can review 1 per week instead of 2 or 3, because I know it gets to be a bit much. I mean, I love Hop Butcher beers, but a lot of you guys can't get them out there. So, you know, when I'm reviewing them, posting 3 or 4 a week or whatever is crazy. So once I get back to posting like once a week, that will be good for everybody, including myself. But yeah, anyway, I can't wait to get back to a regular schedule, so to speak, when it comes to posting reviews and just like drinking different beers and so on and so forth. Like, I'm really excited about drinking these Oktoberfest beers because it's been a while. It's been almost a year since I've had any, and they just sound like they might be delicious to me. So yeah, anyway, I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say other than I appreciate all the support from everyone. You know, I'm over 1,300 subscribers on my channel, which is fucking stupid. I remember, you know, when I had a couple hundred, and it's insane to me. I appreciate everybody who has started following the channel in the last 6 months, because it's crazy. Over the past 6 months, I have not posted a ton of content, and I just continue getting subs every day and people commenting and everything. It's just fucking awesome. So thank you to everybody who subs to the channel, everybody who supports the channel. It means a lot to me. And hopefully I'll be reviewing some delicious beer over the next couple months throughout the rest of the year. And hopefully the variety is a lot better. So I thank each and every one of you for stopping by another vlog here on the Beer Patrol. And until the next one, cheers.